Hey, welcome. It's New Year's Day. How is everybody?
Oh, we're having fun bringing in the new year.
Yeah. Fuck. Kyle was just telling us he worked all damn day.
Yeah. Cutting up pigs, chasing pigs. It's never a dull moment.
Just another day. What about you, Tactical? You just got back from the emergency room.
Yeah, I got into a fight with a briar vine and got a thorn embedded like right in the knuckle. Oh. And it's swollen from like here all the way down to here. So I think it's the start of an infection. So I'm on antibiotics now and blah blah blah.
It's the Blackberry Wars. No, I have that. You get him if you get him in the knuckles.
Yeah, and my biggest regret from this entire scenario is I can't murder that vine because I already did. So it's like I want to bring it back from the dead just so I can kill it again. But
God's number. Oh, fucking thorny vines. God, they suck.
Yeah. I haven't done it in a while, but always the worst is like when I wasn't paying attention and would accidentally like slip and stab a little bit. If you get it like in the meat of the hand, it's fine. Like you don't really deal with it. Every now and then you hit a knuckle and it's like it puts you on your knee. I'm just like,
Then
there's got to be bacteria on those.
Oh yeah, I know people that have gotten
every time.
I know people have gotten infections from that. A little, like just a little poke with a Patrick Rohrman knife, and it was on a deer. Yeah, we were in the urgent care for that one because they got an infection.
People get full infections, like blood infections and stuff, like end up in the hospital. I've just gotten really good at like scrubbing everything because it's not like it happens every now and then. Like it's like, oh no, I've been through this before. I know how to stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
No shit. Well, so okay, stopping the bleeding. That's a good spot to start. Okay, shit. I called this. I just figured we'd do this episode because it was, that week between Christmas and New Year's. Some people go over the fucking deep edge, right? And New Year's Eve can be a lot of people's last hurrahs. Maybe I don't know. So if you woke up today and didn't get to work like we all did, it's a day. It was just a day.
It's a day that my wife's not working, so I can work.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. You're good. Yeah, I'm gonna get some shit done. But yeah. So like, I had a buddy that got to the point that was like, I hopped in the car and drove a couple 100 miles just to go make sure we had lunch and a fucking like, it's interesting. So I named this. Okay, so the AI art for the beginning of this episode, the sentence or whatever that I told the art maker to make was a billionaire at the bottom of their addiction, and on the other half of the screen, a standard looking, like a Skid Row. That's what those are the words I use. A standard looking Skid Row, because that was the thing that hit me too. Like I think I named the episode like all bottoms look different. Because if you were looking at this guy or his motherfucking neighbor, 1,000 to 1, everybody's like, trade. I will trade you. I'll trade for that problem. But when you want to fucking kill yourself because you're just like hopeless and sick and tired of being fucking sick and tired, when that's you, it doesn't matter if you got a helicopter, a nanny, or fucking what. It just, nobody's there. You can't call. So, yeah. When your buddy gets to that point and you fucking know it, get in the car.
Yeah. That's always a tough one. And it's like, I lost friends. I think it's been 3 years now. Like, and it sucks that I have to be like, oh my God, it's been 3 years. And like, he overdosed. And it was one of those things where I've known him forever. He was one of the groomsmen in my wedding. Like, I was at the hospital the day both his kids were born. Like, we've had history, and he was an alcoholic and like recovering user. And like, the entire time we worked together, and even after, we were always in close contact. Like, but also at that time, I was 21, like when we were hanging out, and I was in my boozing phase. Like, I was going hard. And there were times where I was like, oh, sweet, Ben's off the wagon. Like, we're going to have a crazy weekend. Awesome. Like, I was still in that mindset of life. And then later on, like, he got back off the wagon, and I was getting married and figuring all my other stuff out. And like, there was a day that I just got a text from like our mutual friend, like the best man at my wedding, like, hey, have you heard from him? And I'm like, I haven't talked to him and I don't know. And then a turn of events happened. I'm not going to air all that. And then we reached out and we talked and stuff like that, and we're going to do better. And then the next I knew, it was the call saying he was gone. And it's like, like, how, why? Like, it's the worst feeling in the world, because there's guilt on you, because you're like, why wasn't I there? Like, why couldn't I help?
Yeah, I've been in similar situations with people, and it's like, didn't even pick up on the warning signs.
That's
like
the hard part.
There were no warning signs. So, and it's kind of, talking about everybody's rock bottom is different. It's, when it comes to specifically this subject, I've said for a long time that everybody's scenario is different. If the human brain was that simple, then my phone would already be smarter than me, because they would be mass producing it. Right. But they don't understand, as much as they think they do, they don't really understand human psyche. So everybody's situation is different. And, rock bottom for me looks different than rock bottom for you, looks different than, just going down to, why people get addicted, but especially nowadays, because we live in a culture that revolves around addiction, because it's not just alcohol or drugs.
No.
Like, you talk about addiction and everybody's like, oh, you either drink or you're, shooting hair. This is an addiction. I wouldn't go as far as to call my sister an addict to a phone, but her reality check for Hurricane Katrina was when she walked out on the back porch and realized that there was no internet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, seriously, that's
your concern
of everything going on right now. That is your big concern, is the fact that the internet's out. Like, so, we've got, food manufacturers putting sugar in bread. Why? Because sugar is an addictive substance. Yeah. They put it in there so you'll eat more of it.
Subway bread is classified as a pastry because there's too much sugar in it for it to be classified as a bread.
Yeah. Like, the algorithms on all of your social media platforms are specifically set up to keep you on there. So our entire society right now revolves around addiction, whether it's to alcohol or Facebook or donuts. Like
donuts.
Donuts from the other room.
Yeah, no, it's tough. Yeah. I did the math the other day. I've smoked cigarettes for over 10 years. And I was like, wow, that was quick. Like that.
Yeah. I've been smoking longer than that. And it's, it's on my list of, that's one of my next big things that I've got to break. I'm just not there yet.
And that's the hardest part. That's the hardest part for people who don't smoke, or like, my wife can like pick it up and put it down. Like, it just depends if I'm smoking. Like, she can go a year and a half without a cigarette and then be at a party and be like, can I get a puff of that? thank you. And they'll just walk away and not have a cigarette for another year. And I'm like, I sniff the air if somebody lights a cigarette in a movie. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Back on the train. Back on the train. Oh, yeah, that's fun. I quit smoking like 3 months before I landed in Europe for school. And like, as soon as I landed, someone handed me a hash joint that was half tobacco. And I was like, first toke, I was like, okay, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm not smoking this the whole time I'm here. Like, no fucking.
No, and it's one of those things where it's like, I get it. I know. Like, I still love the people that will preach the say, well, you know, those are bad for you. I was like, no, I actually had no idea these were bad for me. It's actually a shock to me that you're saying that to me right now. I'm like, of course I know. Of course I know. Like, but I'm at the point in my life where life's nuts. And I've been sober. It'll be 3 years on the 26th. I've been sober 3 years. Like,
nice.
All I do is work. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Just leave me alone. My dad's still here. He's been smoking since before I was born. Like, if he's still here, I'm fine. Like,
yeah, my grandfather literally chain smoked, like actual chain smoked.
Right.
And he lived well into his mid 80s. And you know, it's one of those things that somebody told me once, stop the thing that's going to kill you first.
Yeah.
And smoking is not going to kill me first. Drinking was going to kill me.
Oh yeah.
I was close to the point that I was going to drink myself to death.
Yeah, and that's tough. And I always kind of joke that like mine's not a real flashy story. Like everyone does expect like the different rock bottoms. Like I was one of those guys where I was just the party dude forever.
Yeah.
And I'm 6'4", I'm big, and I would drink like a 30 rack a night. Like, and then wake up at 7 a.m., take a shot of whiskey, and go work 10 hours. But again, you're in your 20s and everything. But that was my levels of drinking. And I calmed down a bit, but then I was still like drinking a 12-pack a night on like a Tuesday, and I'd have to be up at work at 4. Like, and we just had a bender weekend. I think it was my wife's birthday. And I was like, I think I gotta take some time off. Like, we've been going pretty hard. Like, it wasn't like I had a horrible incident or anything like that, which I'm not saying I wish I did. I'm glad I didn't. But like, I took a day off and then went into full withdrawals. Like, not even like, I don't feel good. Like, full withdrawals, hallucinating, like hands and feet going numb while I'm driving. Like, all of that nonsense. And the third day of that, I was like, I'm never going through this again. Like, that was my main, like, oh, all right, that's the kick in the butt I needed on that one. Like, it doesn't matter to me anymore. It's gone out of my brain. Like,
and I'm fortunate in the fact that my withdrawal symptoms weren't that bad. Like, I had some issues, and then like also shortly after I stopped drinking, got off of any type of grain at all because I didn't eat bread or anything like that. And so I was just starting to get over the withdrawal stuff, and I went into ketosis.
oh,
And I've got an old back injury, and Nicole was gone. I was here by myself trying to take care of animals and whatnot, and my back went into full spasms for 5 days. And I was like, oh my God. And it was like, after going through that, it was just one more, like, I don't want to have to go through that again.
no.
But, you know, I mean, it's like you were saying, you know, everybody's different. Because another thing for me what you were just talking about, for me, it was a loss of control.
Yeah.
Was one of the points. Like, I've combat that with PTSD. So, you know, I drank to stay numb.
Right.
And then I finally decided that, okay, it's time to actually try to deal with this whole brain thing. And it's like, cool. I'm to the point that I don't need to drink to stay numb anymore.
Oh, yeah.
But I've been doing that for, 15 years. So now I can't stop drinking.
Right.
And it's like, fuck my life.
Well,
Like,
it just becomes part of the routine.
I'm just starting to get over this, and now I've got another ladder to climb.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to go through that whole evolution. And so it's, I mean, everybody is definitely different from why and how and when and what. Like, it's going to be different from everybody, for everybody.
Yeah. But the main part of it, that's the biggest thing, is you're absolutely right. It's going to be different for absolutely everyone. What line, what limit, what gets them to that point. But for every single person, they need to decide that they're done. That is the number one biggest thing. Like, if they don't decide they're done, they're not done.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
like
the decision point.
That's one of the things that I've always said too, is like, you've got all of these different recovery programs and 12-step programs and these programs and that programs and the first step and this, that, and the first step is admitting to yourself that you have an issue. Yeah. The second step is deciding that you actually want to make a change. You have to decide that. Like, you see these guys that's like, oh, my girl's going to leave me, so I'm going to go to AA. You're going to relapse, bro.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to stop drinking. You want to keep your girl. Right. So the moment you think you can have both, you're going right back.
Right.
Like, you actually have to make that decision.
Right.
That was when I went down and had my talk with him. I was like, are you ready to be done? Like, you notice, like, all the bullshit we talk about in the circle is like, dude, all comes back to the center, which is you. Are you ready to be done? For real, are you ready? Because as soon as you do, like, you can't tell me, like, I'm going to a meeting because of the kid. I'm going to do this for the ex. Fuck it all. I'm like, dude, if you offed yourself last night, then guess what? You wouldn't have to work double hard tomorrow to catch up with your end of year shit. Like, fuck it. Take that box of shit, throw it out the window. Because if you were dead anyway, you wouldn't be here doing paperwork tomorrow. So fuck it. If you literally can't take 12 hours off to go for mental health for yourself, like, make a decision. Fuck it. And what's the point? You have, like, so when people are at the edge, do you coddle them, or do you I'm a dick. I'm just a mirror. You can't be an addict or around addicted people, right, and have any tolerance for lies, because it's just like cover.
So I got a question for you guys.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on this? How much mourning did you do of the person you were drinking? Like, was it hard from an emotional standpoint to be like, but I'm the guy who has the beer every time or whatever?
That was tough in the beginning. Yeah. That was super tough because that was my whole persona. Yeah. Like, I was the drinking dude. Like, that was it. Like, but I think that's what's also helped me through all this. I did it all. I sent the postcard. Like, I don't need to go back and, like, do whatever stupid drinking thing or wake up somewhere or do something. Like, again, because I was also never a mean drunk. I was always the drunk to be around. So when it finally was all said and done, I look at it now and I'm like, that was fun. Cool. That's next thought. Like, because guess what? I have to get up with the 1.5-year-old tonight because she doesn't feel good. So I can't be hammered. Like, I have to wake up and I've got 2 more pigs to cut up tomorrow, and then this, that, and the other. I can't be hammered. Like, there was so much holding me back when I was drunk all the time.
Yeah.
Oddly enough. And I think what's super important is, like, for somebody to fully get over that, what they don't account for is the time that they're doing that. So all of a sudden, now you're not drinking. Awesome. That's great for you. Well, guess what? You used to drink 6 hours to 8 hours a night and do nothing. Now, if you're not motivated, if you don't have an outlet for all of that, then you're going to be sitting on a couch, watching TV,
thinking about drinking.
Cheeto. Yeah, don't do that.
This is coffee for transparency.
No, harm reduction, right? Like, even if you got to do one less thing, less bad, just take the step. When I wanted to quit drinking, I mean, I had this epiphany of just like, holy fuck, you just wasted your kid's entire childhood. Like, you were around, like, literally, like there. There's a fucking ton of pictures of me water skiing and fishing and everything, but I wasn't there.
Yeah, you were hammered.
I was, but I was so functional.
Right.
So it appeared I was robotically, automatically there, but not there. And when I made the fucking boob, the time sucked back. Sure.
Well, that was it for me. My oldest was under a year old. Like, and I was still drinking a 12-pack a night, getting up with a baby in the middle of the night, waking up at 4 a.m. and going to work and being late for work constantly because I was still hammered at 4 a.m. Like,
you're going
to work. And it's like,
see, I was a good drunk because I would put down a 12-pack plus whatever bourbon or whatever at night, and then
what you got laying around,
I'd be on time for work the next day. Like,
well, for the longest time I was. Then I got older and had a baby, so I was tired from having a baby. Then I was like, "Oh, this drinking thing, it's not as easy."
But then, I mean, for me too, it was, the whole persona of losing a part of yourself. For me, it was there was a snowball effect to that too, because it's like I lost a coping mechanism.
Right.
Like the first, oh God. So I didn't decide to just stop drinking. At first I was just going to cut back. So I was going to have 2 beers. And the first night that I did this, I went to bed. And as soon as my head hit the pillow, if you've ever seen the intro to the Marvel comic book movies where it's flipping through the pages.
Oh, yeah.
It was like that. But every image was something fucking horrible.
Yeah.
And this went on for 8 hours. And so, like, when I say coping mechanism, I drank so that I could sleep.
Right.
Like, so that I could go to bed and pass out. That night, like, that filter was gone. It was just, there was no filter there. So everything was, and I finally, at one point, I moved my pillow down to the foot of the bed because my dog slept at the foot of the bed.
Right.
And so I laid across the foot of the bed so that I could reach over and put my hand on the dog. And the only way I can describe is it felt like she was absorbing a lot of the negative energy. It was the only reason I made it through that night. So, I mean, I lost the coping mechanism that I had. And it was also, another thing that if you're going to take a holistic approach to this, you've got to realize that it's not just the substance, whatever it is.
Right.
It's also the habits that you build around it. You know, there's all sorts of different stuff that's built into it or that revolves around it because, you know, I despise going to town. I hate going to town. I would rather go mow the pasture than go to town. For one reason, there's no stupid people in my pasture. Another reason is I've never gotten a sense of satisfaction by going to town. I get a sense of satisfaction by mowing the pasture, especially if I get to murder briar vines. So when I go to town, and so as soon as I wake back, go inside, put any stuff that needs to go in the fridge while I'm in there, grab a beer, go sit on the back porch and chain smoke until I calm down.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a habit.
Yeah.
That was one of the hardest habits that I had to break was that one. And so, you know, there's all these different aspects of, you know, it's not just the substance. Like I was just thinking about the other day, I was thinking about this one beer that I really liked, and they sell it at all the gas stations around here.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, I don't know why. I don't want to get drunk right now, but I want to taste that beer.
Oh yeah, like that's huge for like the first year for me. It was. I mean, like, it was hard. Like it's not as hard now. Like every now and then it'll hit me of like, huh. But like that first year is like you're thinking about it.
Oh yeah.
Time. Like I knew I didn't want to. I knew I wasn't going to. Every now and then it still creeps in. It's like, maybe like one weekend we'll go down to Key West where I'm away from my responsibilities and like we'll just go for a day or two and then come back and then just back to it. And I'm like, no, I know me. Like if I'm gonna have one, I'm gonna have 12. Like, yeah, and then I'm just gonna be drinking
1,000.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like,
and I mean that's one of the things that actually scares me to help keep me sober is it's not just that if I'm gonna have one, I'm gonna have 12. If I'm gonna do it today, I'm gonna do it tomorrow.
Right.
And then I'm gonna do it the day after. And then on Wednesday, I'm gonna drink a 12-pack and a half plus half a bottle of bourbon.
Right.
Like it's not gonna take much to slide right back into old habits, and then you got to start from scratch and go through all the suck all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing with me is like because I've had friends now that have reached out to me and been like, hey man, I think I need to take a break. Like I think I need to stop for a while. I'm like, all right. And I end up talking to him for like 2 hours and talking to him about everything. But I don't sugarcoat anything either. I'm like, first off, you're about to go through withdrawals, and it sucks. Like, and I don't sugarcoat any of it. And they're like, well, how do you get over that? And I was like, you really don't want to know. They're like, what do you mean? And I was like, I just called myself a bitch all the time. Like every time I felt an urge or something, I would just be like, oh, you're gonna be a little bitch, and like let alcohol get back into your head. It's a drink, and it made you stupid, and it costs you time.
Brutal.
It costs you money.
Yeah.
Like, just being the meanest person in the world to myself. Just being like, and I still hate it. Like, I still hate it when people, when I do say I'm sober, they're like, oh my God, congratulations. And I'm like, thank you. Please stop congratulating. Like, stop. Yeah. Like, I wasn't doing a good thing. Like, but
okay, now I want
a lot of people understand, though, what a big deal it is to get over. And that's why they say it. But when you get over that hump, you just go, oh, that was really dumb. Like, don't congratulate me for not doing something stupid. Like,
there's a reason that people go get Ibogaine treatment one time in Mexico, and never ever want to even see alcohol again or be in the same room. I mean, ever. But that's pretty harsh. I mean, that's going to straight 12-hour DMT trip, and I mean, it has killed people, but being an alcoholic will kill you for sure. So 100% versus a 1,000th of a percent, maybe.
I remember the first day, like whatever, January 27th or whatever, or 26th. Like, I remember coming home being freaked out because I had just picked up my daughter from daycare. I was like obviously grumpy and pissed. Actually, I wasn't yet because I was still really wasn't on the schedule of it. I was still not drinking at that time. And then I was going to drink when I got home. And, but like, I remember driving home with my daughter in the back of the car and my hands and feet going numb while I was driving and being like, oh, okay, understood. Like, I understand what this is. And it's a sign to me telling me to stop.
Yeah. Okay. So microdosing. So when I quit, when I decide, so I first made a decision. I watched my girls walk away at the airport, and it was like I could see the seconds on the hour like ticking away at the exactly tick tick boom. Like that was it. I made the decision. I'm done. Like that was 1 second ago. The new universe forward. I am not a drinker. I don't drink anymore. Right. So I was like, okay. Now, what Tactical said, you're going to have 8 hours, 12 hours a day of shit to like fill. So I was like, okay, harm reduction, real harm reduction. I give myself permission to smoke as much weed as I possibly can on the planet, literally 24 hours a day, and take any amount of mushrooms I want to take. Mushrooms are self-limiting. Man. They just are. You can't. If you go hard, you can't go hard day two. It's so much energy out of you. It'll flatten you. But I microdose myself, like 0.16 grams every day. I was going to take them so I did. I was just like, do it. Totally forgot about it because I got busy like looking at leaves or looking at fish, do whatever. Because just so microdosing on whatever, if it helps. So what happened was after 58 days, I just forgot to take them anymore. I like just stopped like taking my vitamins, like lining up the vitamin tray and the shit. I just forgot to open that bottle after 50 and after about 90 days. Like I went back and was like, oh yeah, what the hell? When did I stop taking those? I went back and counted them. I was like, oh, look at that. Took exactly 58 days. And I totally forgot the old life completely. Yeah. Rewired my brain on purpose. And it wasn't, it took the I had quit like 3 other times for like a year or 2 or 3 because I used to drink a lot. And the problem with being platinum or titanium for life with every airline and every hotel and every fucking agency you go, every place you walk in, anything, all of it, the bar's open. There is no tab. Have at it, kid. For 40 fucking years, 35 years.
Yeah, no, that's impossible.
And literally, overnight, did not think about it again. And people say now, like I don't struggle with. There is no struggle. I don't drink. I don't. I don't look for it. I don't smell it. I don't have it around me. I don't hang out in bars though. Well, I go to clubs because I watch a lot of live music. But you know what? I walk in with the exact same amount of money I walked in with.
Man, I still miss bar, like a bar. I don't miss drinking at a bar.
Right? No, it's I miss fun throwing darts
at a bar, balls, like and just hanging out. And the couple times I've gone, and of course you walk in and everyone's like, "Are you okay? Like, are you fine?"
But you have to be done to do that.
And I'm like, I don't care. I get to laugh at all you assholes because you're gonna get hammered. And I'm going to end up taking care of you, but it's okay because I'm going to blackmail you through all this. But like just to the social setting of being in a bar with your buddies, I miss that a bunch. I have just recently like started drinking like the non-alcoholic beers because it's not just O'Doul's anymore. All of the popular.
I was just looking at that Guinness the other last night, and I was like, "Don't do it." Yeah, I know me. I can't do it.
But I thought that too. I thought I was gonna be like, and the first time I did it, I was like shaking. I was like, I don't know if I should do this. Like, I was upset with myself almost. Of, like, am I gonna do it? It was a Bud Zero. It was just because I always joke that that's the thing that gets me is when coming in on like 95-degree days after hang or building fence or doing something like that, all I
Oh,
think
that
about
tastes yummy.
is
One
that
sip.
glass
Oh, yeah. No.
Budweiser at the bottom of a cooler you filled with ice already 3 times, so with the ratio is perfect, and just that that's all I miss. And I took a sip and I was like, oh, all right, whatever. I missed the glass bottle. That's all I missed. I missed the tactical feeling of not you tactical.
Yeah.
I don't need you up to my
It's
list.
the habit.
But just
It's the habit. Yeah.
It's the
The
habit.
holding the bottle. Fuck, I loved
holding a beer bottle.
I love,
Like how
that's why I gotta-
cathartic that is.
This is always like one of my 2 water bottles is. Oh, I hold
But,
it, carry it around,
I mean-
people make fun of me.
Like I said, everybody's different though, because for me, like I was a connoisseur of the non-alcoholics. I called them fake beers
Yeah.
for a little while because that was one of the
anything
things
you
that I used to break a lot of the physical habits.
Yeah.
Was I would come back from town and get a non-alcoholic beer, and it didn't work at first. I'd take like 2 sips out of it and was like, no, I want a Yinling, because that's what I drink is Yinling. Like, and I'd go in the fridge and get a Yinling, but eventually I forced myself to get onto a non-alcoholic, and then I swapped from that to LaCroix. And then eventually I broke the habit of going and sitting on the back porch and just sitting there being angry completely.
Right.
And so it was for me a stepping stone approach to breaking that habit completely.
Right.
And now
So permaculture, observe and interact with
Yeah.
yourself.
And it's
And-
also
well,
like what
that's
makes it easier as you further go down it is also
Yeah.
how good you feel.
oh
Like
yeah,
how amazing you feel after like 3 months of not drinking. I think I dropped 20 pounds in 3 months, like, and just felt amazing.
What?
And I was like,
yeah,
oh yeah, like that's what reinforces it. If you're really trying to work it out and get through it, and you make it to like that 3-4 month mark and you're feeling great and doing it, that's what reinforces it of going, oh yeah, I don't need to feel that again. I don't need to be hungover again.
yeah. And that was for
Oh.
me, that part took a little bit longer because, especially
Right.
at first, I was so hypersensitive to any time that my body did not feel completely correct.
Right.
Like, if I had a little too much dust in my lungs or something, it was like, oh my God, something is not right. Do I need to go to the hospital? Like,
Right, because it's you
we're
feel
gonna die.
you're not
Like-
pumping poison into your body.
Yeah,
every
I wasn't
day to
numb to
muffle
it
that.
anymore, or it wasn't
Feel
covered up
shit.
by a
Yes.
hangover.
Right.
And that was
Yeah, it's-
that was another one. Was the first time I got COVID was like, huh, this is a really bad hangover. But I have had hangovers worse than this.
I've had
so-
way worse hangovers than this.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first time you take a good solid shit, and all of a sudden you're like,
Oh God.
oh, it's not normal to shit bark mulch. That, you know what? That's something new to me. I didn't realize that because for the
Yeah.
past 10 years, I've been just shitting bark mulch.
yeah.
And I mean,
they
I
live on
still
barley.
like, I have gut issues from other stuff, so
Right.
but like it's interesting. I mean, that was one of the things that I got onto a heavy regiment of various different things, multivitamins and a lot of like kombucha and sauerkraut and all sorts of different probiotic stuff. And like just trying to get my gut bacteria reset and started back up. And then it was like I get going on that, and then I end up in the ER to get stitches, and they're like, here's a prescription for antibiotics. I'm like, great. A year of
It's all
building
my
my
gut
gut
biome.
bacteria, and it's all gone because I got to take an antibiotic.
Oh,
But at least you're starting from a good place and not like just
Yeah,
counting on your system.
But, I mean,
God.
that's the thing about it too, though, is like the first time that I had to do that, it took me so long to get my gut bacteria going. And then, you go on prescriptions for something, because being on a homestead, you're always getting poked, prodded, jabbed, fingers crushed by rocks. It's always something. So, I mean, I've been on antibiotics a number of times, but every time it does not take as long for me to get back on track with, the way my body feels.
Right.
Yeah, when you're sick and tired, right? When you're boozing hard, God, things take so much. Now it's just like, oh yeah, 72 hours max. This is whatever it is. Let's go to bed, be back up. Like nothing kicks my ass at all anymore. Like nothing.
Yeah.
And I mean, that also makes me think about the fact that, we're talking about, the way your body feels, but, going back to what you were saying about, the time thing, you used to spend 6-8 hours at night drinking. It's like now it's like this sucks because like I'm actually expected to do like
work
things.
Yeah,
like
usually there's a grace period. Who like your wife or whoever you're living with is like, all right, I'm not gonna poke the bear. You got some time to figure your shit out, and then it's like, okay, cool, you're still an adult. And yeah, you're doing stupid shit. Now go do this. Like, we need to get this done. Yeah, unfortunately for my wife, I got into farming. Like all of that addictive energy just went straight into farming. I think we got our first fences up with cows. Months, less than 4 months. We had all of a sudden, like, we went from a couple chickens to 2 cow-calf pairs in maybe 3 months after me quitting drinking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got, I guess this is our second winter with the sheep. So it would have been about 2.5 years ago we got the sheep. And about 3 weeks before we got the sheep, it stopped raining. And so my whole plan of, we'll rotate them through these couple of paddocks a couple of times and then we'll move them over here. Yeah, that plan went out the window because they eat through the paddock and then nothing would grow back.
Mm-hmm.
And so I spent about 7 or 8 months plowing through weeds that were anywhere from 6 to 12 feet tall to clear paths through an abandoned cow pasture to run electric fencing so that I could keep moving the sheep.
Right.
And it's like, if I was still drinking, that would not have happened.
Wouldn't have happened.
Like, I would have taken a 12 gauge out there and just shot all the sheep because, like, I wouldn't have been able to keep that pace up. Like,
you were drunk.
Yeah, it's like, but I mean, now it's like, also with the pasture that I have, I shot it with a rangefinder and it's 305 yards from front to back.
Mm-hmm.
It also goes up 550 feet in elevation over the course of 300 yards.
Right.
So it's mildly steep.
Just a bit.
Just a little bit.
Angle.
It's like, of my 2 4-wheelers, I will take one of them over there because I put wider tires on it. If I have to take the 4-wheel drive 4-wheeler over there, it's like straight up or straight down, but you're not turning because you might roll. Like, it's steep.
Don't roll a tractor.
And there's so many, like, there's locust trees and there's some other kind of tree with thorns and there's briar vines that are literally as big around as a quarter and they're only about 6 feet high, but they're like 12 to 14 feet long because they just grow over and spider web together.
Right.
And so the amount of effort that I've put into just getting stuff cleared out in that pasture is unbelievable. But at this point in time, literally, I took a picture the other day from the top. and I kind of, held the camera out here so I was looking over my shoulder because you can see the top of a high voltage line below me.
Yeah,
Like,
you're not.
and
if you were drinking, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't.
and now I'll like every now and then it's just like, I'm going to the pasture. No, I don't need to do anything. I'm going to go take the four-wheeler. I'm going all the way to the top, and I'm just going to go sit up there for 15 minutes and just stare.
We call
Because
those
I can.
We call those PAMs, personal achievement moments.
Yeah.
Where I do that. Especially when we first started building, I would do that constantly. I would literally just middle of the night, like we'd be sitting watching a movie. If it was summer, I'd go out to take a piss, smoke a cigarette, and just like walk the paddock lines in the middle of the night with the headlamp, just checking on everything and just going, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like a year ago, I would have been just hammered, like not doing anything. And now look at all of this I've built. Like I do it now to an extent where it's like, wow, all right. Like again, 3 years ago, I would have been hammered. Now I work completely for myself with my own business, my own farm. I got 2 amazing kids. It's like, why would
I got that done is addictive too.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's
what people who drink too much don't understand is that I got that done is so much more addictive than Budweiser or whiskey.
It's the exact same, right? But it has all positive consequences to everything in the future, to your future self. Like instead of negativing your bank account every day, you're kicking dollars to your future self. Like fuck yeah, I am.
If you go 20 feet in front of me or 20 feet to the left of me, there is a rock wall. And when I say rock wall,
you just keep dragging them by every time you walk by?
No. How to use an excavator, because there's literally some of those rocks are probably 12 to 14 feet long and 2 feet thick.
Wow.
It took 5 days with an excavator. But I would guesstimate if we had paid somebody to do that, that's probably a $50,000 to an $80,000 rock wall.
Just to get some dude in the excavator.
Well, we paid a dude $600 a day to come out, and he ran the excavator. He brought his excavator and he ran the excavator, and I went out and I picked every single rock and was like, awesome. I want that rock. And I would hit one side saying that's front. And then I would either indicate, this side up or flip it. And he would get it and bring it over. And we fit all of these rocks in. And it took a good 5 days with an excavator. But it's like, I was sitting here the other day. And I mean, I don't even know how long ago that was, but I was walking up here, coming this direction. So I was looking at the rock wall and I just stopped and was like, I kind of remember what that used to look like, made out of half rotten railroad ties.
Yeah.
And then I just sat there and looked at this beautiful rock wall, and it was like the greatest sense of achievement. And it's like, I can go to the pasture and I can do that. I can do that with this rock wall. I can do that with the fact that I've replumbed this house twice. The first time we did it through the attic. The second time we had to rip the floors out. So we reran all the piping through the floor. So, I mean, the list of things like that.
Right.
And it's like,
and build shit. And you know what? It's like, once you figure it out and like stop doing it, be an example to those around you, right? Like, hey kids, there's a better way. You don't have to go down this whole fucking thing. Don't believe the TV commercials and the sports ball ads and don't do it. don't get a taste for it. I mean, just avoid it.
Yeah.
Or
Well, I
figure out if you like it too much early.
That one is tough for me because it's like, because I have kids and they have my genetics, and guess what?
Fuck yeah.
Like, it's gonna happen. Like, one of them's gonna be a problem. But there is a part of me that is like, I don't regret almost anything I did. Like, I had fun. I had a great time. Like,
so much wasted time though. I don't.
But in your 20s and your, I'll say 20s to keep everything legal. But like when it's like you're supposed to be wasting time. You're supposed to be having fun. And at the end of the day, depending on who you are, if you're not a problem, which we were all problems. Like if you're not a problem, good for you and have a drink. Like that's great. Yeah. I can't do it.
If you know you have a problem with the substance, deal with it earlier rather than like. Yes. I mean, that could be you could put me in a room with buckets of cocaine. It would still all be there when it got back. I wouldn't.
But the reason you do that is because you did all the cocaine, and you're like, I'm done.
I tried a bunch of different shit, but you have to know yourself.
You hit all the check marks on the crossword puzzle, and we're like, I guess I'm done. Like I did it all.
But there's some shit. There's some people who are total cokeheads, right? But they don't give a shit about alcohol. Right. At all. And so you have to know I'm trying to say, listen to if you're thinking to yourself, that particular thing is a problem, it is.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not.
Do I need to take a break? You have a problem. Yes. You really need to take a break.
Right. No, that's a good indicator, but people need to know the early signs. That's the early, like literally, if you can't just imagine yourself in a shopping mall with just piles of whatever. It just walking on by it because you're late for a movie. If you're like, at all, pay attention if you're going to do that thing.
One of my favorite scenes out of any movie, I can't even remember the name of the movie, but there's this cop. He's on the bomb squad, and he comes home from work. His neighbor, who's a retired cop, is out in the hot tub, and he walks up and he's like, "How did you know when it was time to quit?" The old man's like, when I started asking myself that question.
Yeah. If you're
That's
already
exactly it.
If you're already sitting there going like, oh, I feel like shit. Like, am I drinking too much? The answer is yes. If you personally have to ask yourself, am I drinking too much? The answer is yes. And everyone else is either too afraid or doesn't care enough to tell you.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean,
theaters have booze now. Oh, yeah, I know. I went to some of the originals in fucking Amsterdam, and they had more booze.
I lost out on all that shit.
But I mean, it's like,
and it wasn't actually a movie, but
I'm sure you remember being at the point. I don't know what one of your wake up moments was, but I mean, I remember sitting in a room with my therapist, and she was like, "What would you think about going to AA?" I was like, "Fuck no. I'm not an alcoholic. I mean, I know I'm a drunk, but it's not like I've crashed my truck into the neighbor's front porch or woke up in a drainage ditch or something."
Right.
Like, I was like, I'm not an alcoholic. I was an alcoholic.
Tori, if you're an alcoholic, you can't hear your pregnant wife. Literally. You can make noises. We can't hear you.
Yeah.
You're not
and it's like, I know one of mine was literally growing up at like midnight on a Tuesday, like just throwing up because I had drank 14 beers, like watching Survivor on Paramount Net, like just whatever, like something completely benign.
It was Wednesday.
I just pounded 14 beers and had to be up for work at 4, like, and just having that beer throw up too, so it's just foam and it's just awful. Like, and you're crying and it's coming out of your nose. It's awful. It's the worst like drunk puke, in my opinion, is beer, because it's just
I used to mow the greens at the golf course, and it was like 48 degrees, raining sideways, like 4:30 a.m. And I had to mow them for a tournament, and I ended up just barfing all over myself and like all over the fucking ground.
But it just
sorry.
But like literally remembering like going up the stairs and not holding on to the railing and leaning onto the wall and trying to be as quiet as possible all the way upstairs so I didn't wake up my wife or my dog or the baby. And then just like laying in bed and just going, nope. And just going to the bathroom and just throwing up and just being like, I remember being in the toilet crying, going, it's a Tuesday. Like, I have to be at work in 5 hours.
Yeah.
What am I doing? Like, what is this? Like, that was one of the beginning points of just like, this is dumb. Like, and like 2 days later, my boss was like, you kind of been late, like a lot. When you were in that,
I kind of noticed.
Yeah, like, and it was
I
like,
didn't think you noticed that.
Yeah, but then I also remember, like, you know, you've got those nights where you're at the bar or whatever and you drink way too much and you get home and you're laying in bed and the whole house is like spinning around you and you're like, I'm never drinking again. And then, you know, 12 hours later, where are you? You're back.
I was going to say bar. 12, like 6 hours later.
You're getting texted at like 10 a.m. like, hey, you know the game's on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I remember being in that cycle, and now it's like, now that I'm out of it, you realize how stupid it was.
It's so dumb and embarrassing. Like, embarrassment is one of like the biggest words I can use for that, at least for me. For me, it's embarrassing. Because for me, it's like, I'm supposed to be a man. Like, I'm supposed to be able to take care of my family. And I almost got taken down by Coors Light. Like, really? Like, it's so, yeah, it's a rough one. I think it's also important, like kind of what we're talking about here. The whole reason this podcast even started is support. Like, also have a good support network. Everyone who's not going to support you, gone. See ya. Like,
okay, so hey, do the three of us don't go to AA? You guys know? Yeah,
no.
Sometimes.
No.
I just call myself a bitch for a year.
I got sentenced to that when I was in high school and I got my drunk driving thing. I did 40 days like inpatient rehab and all that. Yeah, and then I went back out on a 30-year career.
But like having the people around and the people to say the right things, like the biggest thing for me and the thing that locked me in. Like I was having a real hard time. I was at work and I was just ornery. Like it was day 2 or 3. So I was just shaking, like on edge, like not great. My boss like made like a wisecrack and I didn't like usually respond with my jovial self. He's like, "You all right?" And I'm like, "I'm 3 days without drinking. Like I'm done. Like I'm finally done." And he didn't say anything that day. And I pull into the shop. We had to be in and punched in at 6:30. And I pulled in at like 6:15 and just I would sit in the parking lot, smoke cigarettes and listen to podcasts like before work or whatever. And I remember he walked out and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And he goes, "I just wanted to talk to you. Like, are you good? Like, is everything all right? Like, are you real about this? We don't have Yingling up here. It's very upsetting. I was very upset when I saw it in the cooler at SRF. And I was like, oh, that was one of those moments. But anyway, he goes, "If you're serious about this, I want to let you know that this is the greatest thing. This is the greatest gift you could ever give to your children and your family." He's like, "I have seen many men succumb to this and let it take over them. And they miss out on their kids' lives. They miss out on their lives. And what you're doing, you will not regret." And he's like, "I'm proud of you. Like, I am absolutely proud of you. And if you need anything, like, me and my wife are here. Just let me know." And it was like, I'm crying. Like, but you need someone to say that, like in the beginning. You need people to hold your hand sometimes. It sucks.
Yeah.
Your body is going through an insane change. Your brain is going through an even crazier one. You need someone to coddle you every now and then and be like, you got this. Like,
yeah. And especially if you compile, like, you know, my list of issues,
right.
that, you know, it was a lot more difficult for me. But, you know, I was blessed by the grace of God that I have a community of people that tolerated my bullshit when I was drinking, and then supported me through the transition to stop. Because I mean, for me, it wasn't just the stopping drinking stuff. You know, there's the whole brain side of what I had to deal with going through that. And so I was blessed to have people in my life that were cognizant of all of that,
right,
and supportive of it. And I mean, I don't think I had any of my friends that, like, when I say my friends that whose opinion I actually care about,
right.
like, you know, I've got acquaintances and stuff, but out of the people whose opinion I care about, I don't think one of them was like, oh man, you're going to be a quitter.
Yeah, that's
like,
not your friend.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a person you need to be around at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
unless they are that good a friend, and then immediately, like, as soon as everyone else leaves the room, they go, but seriously, are you all right? Like,
yeah.
Like, if they're just that asshole friend.
Yeah, well, there's a difference between being an asshole and being a dick.
Right. Yeah, the dick would be like, it's just one. Like, what? It's just, like, it's never just one. Like, I don't understand how that stigma is still there, where it's like, this is a thing. I obviously have a problem. It sucks. It's dumb. But I've made this decision for myself. Don't be an asshole. This isn't your decision. This is my decision. Like,
no.
Because also, the majority of the time, the person that is pressuring you to do it should also quit drinking. Like,
right.
It's never a sober, like, or just like, I have one or two beers, and like, they're just that person. They just have one or two beers.
Yeah,
they never go, here, no.
You getting sober makes them feel guilty.
Right, exactly. And they need co-conspirators in them getting fucked up.
Yep.
Right. Expect the backlashy shit from, you're gonna like, it's like you're like Team Satan and you're going to like Team Jesus. like it makes some people crazy. Like, oh fuck, just you, like, you change, so you're not asking them to do anything. You don't nothing, right? But it's just an internal pressure switch that they're feeling, and they just go berserk.
Yeah.
So it's not you. Stay your course. Stay the fucking course.
Well, I remember my biggest fear was like, oh God, I'm not gonna be funny anymore. Like, because I was the funny guy. Like, I just got hammered, cracked jokes, and was just, hey, Kyle, I bet you won't jump through that window or whatever. Like, whatever. And I'd be like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I was so scared I wasn't going to be funny anymore. And then, like, a week in, I was like, oh, I'm still an asshole. That's right. I'm fine. Like, it's like, that was my biggest fear. Like, oh my God, am I not going to be fun anymore? Like, am I not going to be fun out? Which I'm not. I am just the biggest curmudgeon now. I never want to leave my house. Like, just like, yeah, everybody, no. But I'm funny. So I'm fine with it.
Yeah, you really got to be okay not giving a fuck what people think. Like, yeah, or don't be around people for a while. I mean, either you got to get to the point, or don't be around people for a while.
Yeah, if you are a person that sincerely cares about what everyone else thinks, like, just go visit family somewhere. Like, take a break, like, and go and stay out of it. But it's hard.
Know what?
You just need to accept
the Appleseed instructors
and just work through it.
They had the best thing when you would go Project Appleseed to learn how to shoot. But they were telling you the history of the revolution and all that, because they really wanted to get to hearts and minds. And they always kept saying, like, it's the perfect seed to drop. Like, no, you need new friends. Like,
Yeah.
no, you need new friends. Like, literally, if you lived I used to live at my country club, ghetto golf course, but literally live there. I married the bartender. So yeah, that was like, I was like, no, when I quit, I was like, I didn't golf for a year. I didn't touch my clubs.
It's
so you got to
what
break some
happens is
fucking
you need to
habits.
ask yourself, I'm like, are they your friends?
Why are you doing
or
that?
are they your geographical friends? Are
Yeah,
they
right.
geographically at a location that you're at all the time
Next to
and
my
you're
favorite
friendly
tap?
with that person? Or could you
Yes.
call them at 2 a.m.?
Yeah.
Like, that's the big one. And not 2 a.m. like, hey, do you got a
No.
bag? Like,
You notice I'm out.
hey.
You notice I'm out working in my woods by myself now,
Right.
Yeah.
day after day after day.
And I was
Hey,
talking
guys, there's
to
work to
another.
do.
I was talking to another friend of mine, and it was like, yeah, we both agreed that it's like, yeah, all these friends that we had were friends because we were all at the bar.
Right.
Like we stopped going to the bar, and we haven't talked to them since then. Like they're not really friends; they were just people that happened to be at the bar at the same time that we could have a conversation with.
Right.
Like,
And you know where they are? They're probably sitting at that same bar going,
Same.
what the hell ever happened to him? Like,
yeah,
Until it gets plowed over by a bulldozer, and then like
Right.
literally they just go to the next bar 3 blocks down and oh my god. It's You know what though? Like, some people notice and like, oh yeah, so that's why we're doing the show today, because I figured it'll be up forever, and people might scan back through this and pop it in. You never know, and if one person 10 years from now stops destroying themselves,
right.
this is worth it. It was worth taking an hour
Yeah.
out.
I hope people do find it and it does help them. That it's like, I don't know. I'm sorry, my route isn't super helpful. Just be super mean and condescending to yourself until you stop drinking. But like, there's more in that. But it's like,
there's more than one way. Because the
show.
Well, and I had in one of the bullet points to rant about, but this hasn't been ranty, so I don't want to go there too much. But just like everything else, when you wake up, if you decide to get your shit straight, understand that the insurance companies and the white coat fuckers are all going to funnel you into a profit funnel for themselves that may not be best for you and may extend your torture a long time. Because until you get it, by getting it, like, doesn't matter that your Blue Cross is going to pay $80,000 in benefits. It's just some hot meals and fluffy eggs, and then you'll be right back out fucking destroying yourself 120 days later. So, yeah, just understand the whole 12-step thing. Bill Wilson started it. He was on LSD through the Harvard studies, and they were dosing the early people that they built the big book around, and they used LSD to get people to have a religious experience that weren't religious, because they knew that's why all the whole higher power. If you're like, this doesn't feel right at all, it doesn't for me. Understand the founder and the thing that they hold up. They don't tell you about the other half, that he was on LSD. The original people were on LSD. They created, like we've all talked about, a pivotal moment where we decided. They created the we decided moment for them with a powerful chemical, but they don't talk about that. So if you start going to meetings or reading that book and you're not like getting it, the Zazen moment,
that's why.
Understand they used a powerful chemical to get there. And if you don't get there on your own suffering, it's not you. Like, understand how that all happened. And we all found it a different way. There's a lot of different ways. Find a mentor. Like anybody who like used to be have the life be
like
shit.
I'm not
doesn't now.
I'm not like screw AA. Like I'm gonna do it myself.
I'm not either.
I
just didn't
go that route. I'm a very personal person, and I'm like, I don't need to. Like I'm embarrassed about this. I don't need to go talk about it.
But like when you get busted by the court, if you get forced down the rabbit hole, that's how they push you.
Like I would go to an AA meeting now. Like what is it but a podcast with just people that I don't know, like you're talking with interesting people. Some of them are obviously like way more interesting than others in wrong ways, but it's like you're all there. You've all been through it. We are having a semi AA meeting right now. Like we're talking about sobriety but we're talking about it in our way. Like all the different steps, I don't remember them all. But most of them,
and I think Tori the Buck. No, most of them are great. They're all great. I'm just saying, as an industry, it's becoming
as an industry, like it's an industry, so it's bad. Like in industry in general, like.
And she's like, "There's not enough accountability to the anonymous." Yeah. You know what? I've like Russell Brand. You know, he's a big ex addict too, and he's just like ruthless honesty is the only way. Well, you live in lies forever. Absolutely. You can't do it anymore. It's like
if you can at some point go on a podcast and say you used to shit bark mulch, you're not ready for sobriety.
Yeah, you just have to deal with your shit.
Where it's like I said, be mean to yourself and be like, you're gonna let that Coors Light take you down because you can't go without that Coors Light or that whatever. It's like, no, you're an adult. Figure it out, and we're gonna get through this. Like.
And you probably did some bad shit, and you're gonna have to like forgive yourself at some point, or drive yourself crazy.
You'll be okay. Like if you surround yourself with the right people and have the right mindset, you're gonna be fine. It just sucks. Life sucks a lot, like especially lately. But it's like you gotta keep it moving. And that's the hardest part about it is when you do get to a certain point where it's like, because there is a certain point where you kind of go, all right, I'm pretty proud of myself. Like I haven't drank in 3 months, 4 months, whatever. But like we said about like all of a sudden you have more chores now because like you're not doing anything. It does get to a point where it's like, all right, well, I'm not going to dwell on this anymore. Like, I haven't done it. Okay, cool, great. I'm just going to move on and keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, and for me, it's not even that it's more chores. It's like I get to do all of this other stuff because I'm not sitting on the back porch with a beer.
Right.
Like all of the other stuff that I get to do.
Yeah.
Just like, it opens up so many doors.
Right.
So, I mean, it's definitely, I think, like we said from the beginning, it's different for everybody. The road to getting sober is different for everybody. Every aspect of it is different. But, I can't say that I know anybody that's like, oh shit, like I got sober and now my life sucks. Like, I should just, I'm going to go to the liquor store because my life sucks so bad.
Toby Keith's the only one.
Yeah, it doesn't, hard to...
I quit drinking.
Well, that's the whole other side of the whole fucking just the system feeding you booze. Like, if you are a producer on booze, oh, trust me, it comes to you because you talk better after 20 drinks to these clients. Here's a Platinum MX. Fucking go, kid, go. Like, talk about hard to put down. Like that, I went another 10 years because of that. Fuck. It was, everybody around me made money off of me being completely fucked up because I could, like you said, being funny. You can roll and you don't give a shit what anyone thinks because you're on a roll And as a sales dude, they think that's the funniest shit ever. But you can also do high-end math and spit out numbers like a Rain Man. So feed the kid more booze, right?
Yeah.
oh, that's the problem. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get across. It's like sometimes it's like the Skid Row, like, holy shit, yeah, you should stop. You're picking your arm apart from the bugs. Versus like, oh man, you just got a new fucking helijet. Yeah, buddy. Like, no one's telling that guy to stop ever, because you don't get to ride in his helijet if he stops and becomes a farmer. That's the insanity of it. That was the other half of the people that I wanted to talk to, the guys that are rolling hard right now and having fun. You think, and to look around, like we were just talking about, you're at the bar, it's the proximity.
Yeah.
Is everybody just hanging out with you because you got fucking bagfuls of Coke and unlimited booze and fucking like chip, like, fuck, you're gonna wake up one day and go, this is so hollow, this sucks. Like,
Yeah.
That's a hard day, because you have like everything. What more could you want except to die?
No.
Don't do it.
No.
Tune into the show. Hit one of us up.
Yeah, for sure.
Phone a friend.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And that is a big message too, where it's like, if you've gone through this, if you get through the other side, be there for other people. Because you're there.
Yeah. I don't
like
nobody that has made it all the way, isn't that I know. Everybody's like, mostly the most hopeless cases are the best. We'll fucking all answer our phone at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
We might call you names and like tell you you're being a dickhead to yourself and like not being super like friend like, and we're gonna be ourselves. But you know what? We'll answer the phone.
I mean,
and we'll shine a light.
I think most of the people that are in the boat that we're in, are definitely willing to talk to other people about it. But you'll also have to realize that, like, we've been there. So, like the guys that talked us through it, we are going to be brutally honest.
Yeah.
Because we know the road that you're going down, and we don't want to see you,
don't sugarcoat it, because it's only going to make their journey harder.
Yeah.
And they're probably not going to quit, because
they're more likely to believe you. Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
honest. Like, yeah, it was fun, and then it was hollow.
right.
Or like, yeah, and you did it like tactical saying coping. It was a great fucking coping mechanism until it wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Fucking hey, should we wrap this up? What do you think?
Yeah.
Over an hour. It was pretty good.
Tactical?
Yeah.
Let's see. How to reach everybody. Tactical, do you want to get reached? You're always quiet. I never heard from you on it. You're always so quiet on the shows. But
Yeah, if anybody wants to get a hold of me, they can either go through Nicole, or they can shoot me an email at tacticalredneckequipment@gmail.com.
Perfect.
And I'll try to, like, after this is over, I'll try to get in the comments or something and just post my email address in the comments.
There we go. That's good. Okay. Yeah, good idea. I'll do that too.
Perfect.
Kyle, what do you got there? I like your new logo I saw this morning. That was cool.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we have too much going on. Just craziness. But
you're internet hero now.
I'm trying. I'm doing something. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. And you can see what I'm doing at Backwoods Butcher 603 on everything. So that's YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. We're revamping everything. I'm bumping what I'm doing good up to 10, or doing a bunch of cool videos coming out. We're restarting the podcast. The StreamYard account I was using all of a sudden lapsed, and then it was the conversation of, am I going to pay this money for something that's not making me any money whatsoever? And it's like, it's not super cheap. Actually, Joe, he was up in the comments there. Joe Blakesley from Blakesley Acres is going to be coming on as a co-host on Meet the Critters. So we're going to continue the podcast, and then hopefully bring it to a new level. And then TikTok, if you like dead animals and dark humor.
That was dark humor. Let's see. Oh, get me at foodforestfarms.com right there. Roasted coffee. If you're going to visit the Pacific Northwest, come stay in our Airbnb. We're between Seattle and Tacoma. If you're going to go see a rave at the Tacoma Dome, tell me which one. I'll go with you. Stay at our campsite out on the peninsula. Camp Sunny Key. Like Sun, E-E, Key. SunnyKey.com. First wedding of 2024, I'm giving away for free. Free. I want good pictures for the website, and I don't have a big wedding tent up, the whole like pictures of thing at our place. So I figure that's good trade skis. So if you know a young couple who wants a 10-acre private park for even just for what do you call that, the after party, like do the thing at the church and then
The reception,
bring all your buddies out, for a weekend or whatever.
Oh.
Anyway, first wedding free. CampSuniki.com.
Can I get remarried?
All right. Actually, it's my 10 year this year to my bartender bride that nursed me through. So we're gonna rail it hard for summer solstice. So come out to our festival, thesquatchfest.com.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys. All right.
Well, we'll see you later. Thanks,
Stay
boys.
sober.
Good time.
Old friend.
Yes.
Bye. Dun, dun, dun.